What do you want for dinner? I don't know. Chinese? Maybe. Mexican? Sure. Pizza? That's fine too. So which one? And somehow, that question feels impossible. Not because you don't like food, not because you're being difficult, not because you suddenly forgot what restaurants exist. You've just spent the entire day choosing what to answer first, what to ignore, what to wear, what to say, what to fix, what can wait, what needs your attention right now. Then somebody asks you to make one more decision, and your brain looks at the menu and says, "We're closed." Today, we're talking about decision fatigue and why sometimes the smallest choice arrives after you've already spent everything you've had. This is Wisdom from the Porch with GP. Dinner is just where you notice it, because dinner happens late enough in the day that the account may already be empty. Think about how many small decisions happen before then. Do I answer this email now? Do I interrupt what I'm doing? Was that message urgent? Should I call them back? Do I need to explain myself? Which task comes first? Is this good enough to send? Should I keep working? Should I stop? What does that person mean by that tone? Do I need to respond? Every one of those requires some sort of mental effort, and most of them barely register as decisions. That's part of the problem. We tend to think of decisions as big things. Which job, which house, which relationship. But daily life is full of tiny forks in the road, and when enough of them pile up, the next choice can feel much bigger than it actually is. That can happen to anybody, but for some neurodivergent people, there may be additional layers. More options staying active at once. Difficulty prioritizing. Difficulty estimating which choice matters most. Fear of making the wrong one. Trouble shifting away from one task to evaluate another. Perfectionism, overthinking, and suddenly, what do you want for dinner is not one question. It's 20 questions wearing a trench coat. Some brains are good at generating possibilities. That can be a gift until you need to choose one. You're not deciding between chicken and pasta. You're thinking, chicken would be healthier, but we had chicken yesterday. Pasta sounds good, but then I might feel heavy. We could go out, but that costs more. I could cook, but then there are dishes. Maybe leftovers, but are they still good? Maybe I should just skip dinner. And now a basic decision has become a committee meeting. This is where too many options can become their own form of friction. People often assume more choices is better. Sometimes it is. Sometimes more choice just means more processing. And if your brain already has trouble closing doors once they're open, every extra option stays in the room. Decision fatigue isn't always about volume. Sometimes it's about stakes or perceived stakes. You may have learned somewhere along the way that mistakes are expensive. Maybe people criticized your choices. Maybe you were called careless, impulsive, forgetful. Maybe you made enough rushed decisions in the past that now you do the opposite. You examine everything, twice, 3 times. You try to make sure there's no hidden consequences, no better option, nothing you're forgetting. That can turn ordinary choices into moral questions. What is the right thing to eat? The right way to spend $20? The right time to answer? The right wording for the email? The right day to make the appointment? At some point, the pursuit of the perfect decision can become more expensive than making a decent decision and moving on. So what helps? Sometimes the best decision-making strategy is making fewer decisions. Not forever, in advance. Create defaults. Maybe breakfast is one of three things. Maybe Tuesday is always tacos. Maybe you wear the same type of clothes for certain kinds of work. Maybe bills are automated. Maybe you grocery shop from a standard list. Maybe there's a fixed day for administrative tasks. Maybe your first hour of work has one job. Defaults aren't boring because they lack imagination. Defaults protect attention. They keep you from spending premium mental energy on repeat questions. Second, limit the menu. Instead of asking, "What do I want?" ask, "Which of these two works better?" 2 options are easier to compare than 12. Third, decide before you're depleted. If you know evenings are hard, make dinner decisions in the morning. If you know you freeze when work gets busy, choose tomorrow's first task before you leave today. Don't keep asking your most exhausted self to make your hardest decisions. There's another skill worth practicing. Good enough. Not careless, not sloppy. Good enough. Some choices don't deserve 30 minutes of analysis. The shirt, the lunch, the subject line, the parking space, the restaurant, the exact wording of a text that simply says, "Yeah, Thursday works." You don't need to optimize everything. Sometimes the best decision is the one that closes the loop. And this can be especially hard for people who are intelligent, creative, and capable of imagining many possible outcomes. You can see too many versions. That doesn't mean you need to investigate all of them. A decision can be imperfect and still be completely adequate. That's worth practicing deliberately. Not every decision deserves equal energy. That may be the most useful distinction. Some choices matter a lot: a contract, a medical decision, a major purchase, a relationship boundary, a career move. Those deserve thought. But if you spend the same amount of mental energy choosing lunch that you need later for a negotiation, something's upside down. So start sorting decisions by importance. Low stakes, defaulted, automated. Limit the choices. Medium stakes, give it a short window. High stakes, slow down, gather information, think. Ask for help if you need it. The point is not making every decision quickly. The point is matching the amount of effort to the actual importance of the choice. There's one phrase I want you to listen for. I don't know. Sometimes it means exactly that. You don't know. But sometimes, especially late in the day, I don't know means I can't process another option. I don't have enough bandwidth left to compare. I'm afraid I'll choose wrong. I need the choices narrowed down. I need 10 minutes without another question. That's useful information, because if you can recognize what's underneath the phrase, you may be able to ask for what you actually need. Give me 2 options. Can you choose tonight? Ask me again after I eat something. I need 10 minutes. I don't care enough about this choice to keep discussing it. That last one can be surprisingly freeing. I use it often. Think about where you lose the most energy making decisions. Food, work, emails, money, scheduling, clothes, social plans. Then ask, which of these decisions actually need to stay decisions? Could one become a default? Could one become automatic? Could one happen earlier? Could one be reduced to 2 options? Could one simply be good enough? The goal is not to remove choice from your life. Choice matters. The goal is to stop spending yourself on decisions that don't deserve that much of you. Because sometimes the problem is not, I'm bad at deciding. Sometimes you've simply been deciding all day, and by the time someone asks what you want for dinner, there's nobody left at the desk. If something from today is still with you, drop it in the comments. I read everything. Some of it comes back to the porch. Today's episode is supported by Cloud Microphones, built for voices that have real things to say. cloudmicrophones.com. We're talking about something that may have helped you survive years ago and may be quietly getting in your way now. The coping strategy that worked then, but doesn't fit the life you're trying to build today. See you then.